Welcome to Rauta. This video is done in commercial collaboration with our sponsor, Steelfest. Hello and welcome to Rauta. This time the topic is AI, artificial intelligence, and its effect on music. Now lately all kind of AI topics have been a lot on the in the news, pages and whatever, and people are, upset about things changes because they might steal our jobs or ruin our lives or whatever. And on the other hand, a lot of people are like, yay, this will make my Google search even better. This will help me out, doing my job and all that stuff. And of course, AI is taking place in various parts of technology, helping us out in various ways that we don't even realize. Sometimes it's all about how your TV does this and that, maybe recommendation over smart refrigerators, maybe helping you out filling your shopping list and all that stuff. But AI is also a big part of music these days. Well, big and big, but let's put it this way. It's making its way there, and even some AI-made music is taking place as we speak. Now, in my previous April stream, someone actually asked me, like, what do I think AI taking part of the music? Like, what's going on and how should we, think about it? What should we really think about, like, what AI is going to do to the music? And this is something that I've been lately, because I work in IT industry, been thinking about also. And recently, earlier this week, when I'm filming this mid-April, I read this. I actually saw this music video, which was more or less written by AI. At least that was the official truth. And there was music video like these orcs and goblins doing the kind of a World of Warcraft kind of a music, which sounded like a B-class version of Amon Amarth. Now, if you're a big Amon Amarth fan, you probably like the song. It didn't totally sound like bad one, just kind of a cloning copycat song. Now, when a friend of mine, a colleague, dug a little bit deeper into that, he found out like there were actually around 20 musicians doing riffs and parts for the AI to take benefit. And also a lot of work had been put into that, probably way more than actual songwriting would have taken if it was done with the traditional means like grabbing your guitar, drums and bass and just adding the vocals and all that stuff. Now, however, AI is interesting because it actually can help with as a lot of things. Be it like, mixing an album, selecting those presets and saving a lot of manual labor and all that stuff. Maybe it will actually help you to analyze what you need to do in mastering and all that stuff. Maybe even recording, like giving you tips like this sound level is not there yet and blah, blah, blah. However, human touch is still very much needed. But of course, AI has its place in terms to help you out. But what it doesn't really do is, do music by itself. Some people are now raising their hand. I can see you here on the back row. Yes, the AI can generate music, but it's made by human elements. That is, without human or man-made riffs, man-made melodies, drums, whatever synthesizers you have there, all these elements, all these raw materials have to be there in order for AI to actually make it to a music. So before AI can actually, for example, record, if you can use that word, a song or make that song, compose one, there has to be certain amount of riffs and melodies, guitar sounds, drum sounds, whatever, in order to make that song. And then it also has to be structured in such a way that it actually makes sense. Now, a few years back, I heard this algorithm generating music out of Artspire. And one of those Finnish IT journalists actually asked me because of my review work, like, what do I think about it? He asked for my comments. And when I was listening to it for a little bit, like, I don't remember how long for, but certain amount of time, it was evident that there is no structure. It's basically generating all that music made whatever Archbar previously done. Now, I don't know if you know music by Archbar, but it's very technical and kind of a multifaceted death metal with a lot of layers and layers and layers. It's not for everybody. It's kind of like acquired taste only. But I do like technical death metal and like those fancy details. Like, okay, now the drums are doing this and that, or the cymbals are going splash, and the guitar's like dun, 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 the kind of a progressive stuff, but more technical and sometimes experimental side. Now, however, when this was done through an algorithm, it kind of missed the point. Like, human brain are kind of wired in the ways that we understand certain patterns and we like certain repetition. For example, a 3 minute rock song or metal song, black metal song, doesn't really matter. It's way easier than say Death Spell Omega doing 9 minutes avant-garde-ish black metal take. Because we like kind of certain patterns. Or obviously there are people who are like, hey, I'm more into marginal kind of music. I'm more Death Spell Omega fan than say some simplistic 3 minute Skorgoroth song. That's beside the point. Yeah, sure you are. But still, most of us kind of like simple patterns, like this riff comes first, then this melody comes that, and there's maybe bridge part and a chorus, and then you just kind of keep repeating those certain patterns so that it makes sense, and that kind of drills to our brain. But everything starts with good riffs, good melodies, certain, parts with vocals and all that stuff. But certain kind of simplicity is needed, and that and structure are going hand in hand. Now, I'm not a music theory guy, so some people might point you like, Jerry, you're not exactly right about that, but I know I'm on the right lane. I'm heading to the right direction with this. And AI is not yet there to understand what makes a good song because AI doesn't really have an opinion about music. It's not like he has those perfect production people here like producing like, yep, this song needs something, maybe a good guitar lead, or those vocals, they need to be doubled, or that you need some kind of a scream on the top of that. Maybe here you want to add some Jeffrey Dahmer spoken part sample or whatever. So AI doesn't really understand the music because AI doesn't really care about the music. It's not like he gets those goosebumps like, hey, my hair is going upwards when this riff is being played. They don't get the nostalgia like, oh my god, this is raining blood. It's almost like when I was 19 and having good times with my friends, drinking that cheap lager, and then we bonded over the evening and blah. Nostalgia and things like that. They don't take place with AI. AI is like, I'm creating music. This should work because there is this riff, this kind of melody is liked by a lot of people. And then if you add layers of vocals here, it should be do the trick, does it. It's almost like, a food made by AI which doesn't even taste. It might understand the patterns. That's what AI does. And that's the brilliant part of it. It might understand like these riffs are understood like and well liked. Let's use them. These riffs are crap. Let's remove out of equation. That's a good part of that. Understanding the patterns. This is something that humans don't that often do, in my opinion, especially when I'm listening to review albums and like, how come these guys don't understand what made good death metal take place in the 90s and what made it good to begin with? But that's a different story. Now, AI has a very, very different perspective on music because that's like said, that's not about emotions, that's not about nostalgia, that's not about how human brain works. It's more like trying to understand what kind of patterns work. So when AI does that music, or more like generates it, it's made of these pieces which have been all like already analyzed to make it work. So in a certain degree, it will work, and we will like it to a certain degree. But then again, you really can't put AI on stage, right? So you might like even like a song made by AI, but when it goes stage, what you will see? Robots or people playing that AI music, which they didn't write in the first place, which is kind of like a Milli Vanilli thing. If you remember that duo from was the 80s already or 90s? Anyway, the point here aside, those guys were like, yeah, they make this good music, but they didn't write the music. They were just a face for the music. And AI music on stage, well, you could see where this leads. Another thing is that could AI help write lyrics? Definitely. And they essentially will probably start writing better lyrics than a lot of people writing metal lyrics because a lot of lyricists kind of suck. So combining once again interesting and likable, understandable patterns will probably work. So AI for the lyrics is probably going to work for the better than worse. But only time will tell because there are always good lyricists which will make something unique, something that just touches us deep us in the soul, our hearts and minds connected, and we're like, wow, this is the greatest lyrics ever. And AI is not maybe able to understand what makes clever. Recently, I fooled around a little bit on Discord playing with a bot and asked that bot to write some poem based on something that a Finnish ex-athlete, when she released a poem book of poems, and that book sucked. I mean, it was more like some metaphors like maybe you live or die, maybe you don't, fuck my life kind of a thing. It wasn't really that much of a poems what was taking place. So I asked this bot to do poems based on that, and those bots' poems were way better than this actual human being. But then again, the bot didn't really understand, because obviously that bot didn't have that book inside the database. So instead of like copying those shitty ideas, it actually took those ideas from something else, combining the vast amount of data available and writing those poems. I'm not saying they were really great, but based on that take alone, I am very confident that AI will indeed help us create better lyrics, at least like more tolerable, not laughable ones like so many lyricists write. But music, I am not really afraid of that. But we will see. It's interesting to see how AI will change music on the long run. Because I mean, after all, there are already books and comic books or whatever made by AI. And some of them are nice. But also a lot of that kind of soulless art is put into cover art of albums, because people are like, just yeah, I wanted some dark temple, add some red layers, some inverted crosses, some fires or whatever flames. Boom, you have it, and then you go print it, and then you like a look. Yeah, this is kind of a nice to look at. It doesn't really hurt our eyes, but with a real talented artist, it would be so much better. So AI definitely has its potential with some things, and maybe that is, in order to do that kind of a background stuff, whatever, like, album booklets or whatever, and maybe help out with some of the lyrics when your lyrical brain isn't that exactly fired up, but not afraid of them doing the music, not afraid of them going on stage and doing some robotic black metal albums. So there it is. But it's going to be interesting to see where we are. Maybe I'm totally wrong, and maybe in 2 years, maybe 5 years, it's totally different game and things have changed so much. So I guess we will just have to wait and see. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for our new robot overlords to take over, I think there are plenty of good music coming all the time, and it's not like we're running out of good music. So let's not forget or worry about AI doing its business. Let it just get evolving, and let's see how it goes. Maybe eventually some work will be easier for us to get done, and things will be affected, but that remains to be seen. That's all from Rauta. What is your opinion about AI? A threat or a possibility, or both? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll get back to you. Bye bye.